guys, very good afternoon. So, come back. We were discussing ancient Indian history. Just got totally 8 chapters. Very keep what we call the pace. We were learning the important technical terms and the summary of the respective chapters. We started with prehistoric cultures and Indus Valley civilization, followed by Vedic civilization and pre-Mauryan age, and post-Mauryan age. Now, in this session, we'll go for Gupta Age and Post-Gupta Age, followed by the remaining 2 to 3 chapters, right? So these are the keywords. On last class, keywords going to refer cheyadam jarigindi, and if possible, you can also write down feudalism. The keywords lo bhanga you just add feudalism. Social institutions and raskunnarga. The social institutions, and a social institution you add Vishti, forced labor. In Telugu we call it Vetti Chakiri. Vishti. So when it comes to literature, we have to focus on 4 elements, that is name of the book, name of the language, author, and content, right? So as far as literature is concerned, we have secular literature, that is Niti Sara, Kaumudi Mahotsava, Vrichakatika, Mudra Rakshasa. For each and every chapter, have the habit of writing, or have the habit of making efforts to remember at least half a dozen books. For example, from Mauryan Empire, you shall remember 2 to 3 books. One is Kautilya's Arthashastra, Megasthenes Indica, and Rajatarangini, which is written by Kalhana. Because Kalhana's Rajatarangini gives Ashoka was a Shaivite. According to Kalhana's Rajatarangini, he was a Shaivite, and gradually he got converted to Buddhism. The same gentleman was responsible for the construction of a city called Srinagar. So this particular episode which we have learned from Kalhana's Rajatarangini. So 3 books. Now come to Ikkada, secular texts annappudu, we have Niti Sara. What was the base for Mauryan administration? Kautilya's Arthashastra. Base for Guptan administration, Kamandaka's Niti Sara. That's it. Koncham connect chesukovali. The base for Gupta administration, Niti Sara, it's a Sanskrit text written by Kamandaka. Besides secular text, we also found that is Narada Smriti. Narada Smriti was also base for Gupta administration. So we have Niti Sara followed by Kaumudi Mahotsava, which was written by Shudraka, Kaumudi Mahotsava. So Vrichakatika and Mudarakshasa. So at least half a dozen books no good to right? Chalo. Now come to foreign literary sources lo bhanga Fahian and Huanshan, which we might have learned in the previous sessions. Where we once again Fahian, the Chinese Buddhist traveler. In fact, totally for about 4 Buddhist travelers have come from China. What for? With 2 motives. Chinese Buddhist travelers came to India with 2 motives. Can you know what were they? To visit the sacred places of Buddhism. So general thing is to visit the sacred places. In fact, almost all religions tell us to visit sacred places, be it Islam, be it Christianity, be it Jainism, Buddhism, including Hinduism. You have to visit the sacred places. Once you visit the sacred places, you'll be going to get virtue, and all these virtues take you to salvation. But every religion has the same stories. Now come to, so they determined to visit the places which are associated with Buddha. What do we call them? Pancha Maha Kalyanas, the 5 great events. Last class is referred to Lumbini, Kapila Vastu, right? Followed by Bodh Gaya, followed by Saranath, and finally Kushinagar, the place where he passed away. Pancha Maha Kalyanas. Besides, they determined to collect Buddhist scriptures. Maybe Sutta Pitaka, maybe Vinaya Pitaka, maybe Abhidhamma Pitaka. With 2 motives, the 4 Buddhist scholars have come to India. We found questions in UPSC. Out of 4 Buddhist scholars, right? 2 Buddhist scholars, Fahian and Huanshan, they came to India through land route and stayed on Indian soil for about a decade and left India through sea route. How did they come? Land route. How did they leave? Sea route. Fahyan and Huyansa. The two Buddhist, what we call, say, scholars or travelers, one among them one, Yan Yuan Se, and Itzing. The remaining two Buddhist scholars, the Chinese Buddhist travelers, exactly opposite. They came to India through sea route, stayed for a few years on Indian soil, collected the stuff, recorded the events, and left India through land. సరే మనకు కొంచెం ఐడియా పెట్టారు, లేకపోతే ఒక ఆయన ఇట్టు వచ్చి ఇంకొక ఆయన ఇట్టు. ఫస్ట్ టూ, నెక్స్ట్ టూ. First two came to India through land route, left India through sea route. The next two came to India, that is like on the sea route, and left to China through land route. And their books and all. Everyone knows Fahian. What did he write? Don't say he wrote so many books. What did he write? చెప్పండి. పలకొత్త లేదు, పాటలు పాడమంటే పాడతారు కదా, తిడుతున్నావా? What did he write? అచ్చా, కొంచెం గట్టిగా. అచ్చా చెప్పండి. సియుకి హ్యాన్సాన్, గుడ్ నమ్, ఏదో సచివుడికి వచ్చింది గట్టం. కానీ నెక్స్ట్ ఫాహియాన్. నేను ఎంత కష్టపడుతున్నాడు, అది యాక్చువల్లీ వస్తలేదు సార్, పాటలు పాడండి. నువ్వు అంటావా అంటావా అన్నది సార్. షోకువోకి ఫాహియాన్, షోకువోకి హ్యాన్సాన్, సియుకి. ఒకటి రెండు సార్లు చదివితే వచ్చేసింది. Fahian, Shokuoki, Huyansang, Siyuki. And Fahian, Chinese Buddhist traveler, came to India when Chandragupta II was the ruler. Right? When Chandragupta II was the ruler, one of the famous rulers from Gupta Empire. Then how about Huyansang? How about Huyansang? Huyansang came to India when Indian subcontinent was ruling by three famous rulers. What are they? Harshavardhana of North, Pulakeshin II of Deccan, and Narasimha Varman I of South. Full of factual information. That's it, right? Now it's all about foreign travelers. Now come to archaeological sources, right? As far as archaeological sources are concerned, we have epigraphical, numismatical, and monuments. Epigraphy, the science which deals with inscriptions, followed by numismatics, coins. Now come to 3 to 4 inscriptions ఇక్కడ రెఫర్ చేయాల్సి ఉంటుంది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మెహ్రౌలి ఐరన్ పిల్లర్ ఇన్స్క్రిప్షన్. మెహ్రౌలి ఐరన్ పిల్లర్ ఇన్స్క్రిప్షన్, it talks about the political victories of Chandragupta Vikramaditya, otherwise called as Chandragupta II. Mehrowli iron pillar. This is the best example of the growth of metallurgical industries in Guptan period, because this particular inscription belonged to, say, 5th century AD. Now we are in 21st century AD. The iron pillar did not get rust. Just imagine what kind of technology, alloy technology, these people might have used. Your IIMs, your IITMs, they're breaking heads. ఏం చేశారు సామి అని మెల్లగా ఒక్కొక్కరు దాన్ని తీసుకోవడం ప్రారంభించారు. సో గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా like they kept heavy vigilance on this, because you have to go research, right? What kind of alloy metals these people might have used, kind of, right? So Mehrowli iron pillar inscription, Chandragupta II or Chandragupta Vikramaditya, which talks about political victories. Now besides Mehrowli iron pillar inscription, we have, that is, Prayaga Prashasti, otherwise called as Allahabad Prashasti. Who authored Allahabad Prashasti? Hari Sena. What is the designation of Hari Sena? Who was Hari Sena? Hari Sena was a court poet, Sanskrit court poet of Samudragupta. At the same time, he was a Senani of Samudragupta. At the same time, he was Sandhi Vigrahaka of Samudragupta. Can anyone, what was the designation of Sandhi Vigrahaka? Very good. The Ministry of External Affairs and War. We found a question. Which one of the following rulers introduced the new designation called Sandhi Vigrahaka? Can anyone? Samudragupta. Samudragupta introduced a designation called Sandhi Vigrahaka. And one of his Sandhi Vigrahakas happened to be Harisena. He was a Sanskrit scholar. Come Senani, come Sandhi Vigrahaka. Now he started praising his master's victories in an inscription. This particular inscription discovered at a place called Allahabad, modern Prayagraj, which comes in say UP, Uttar Pradesh. So Allahabad Prashasti. Now last class refer chesam Nanaghat Prashasti, Nasik Prashasti. Now Allahabad Prashasti. By the time we go to say Post-Gupta Age, that is Badami Chalukyas. What is the name of the Prashasti? Aihole Prashasti. One Nikuda Prashasti category, right? Chalo. So Mehrauli Iron Pillar inscription followed by Allahabad Prashasti. Now come to Nalanda Prashasti. I'm sorry, Nalanda inscription, not Prashasti. Nalanda. Nalanda inscription. You might have referred the inscription in the morning class, especially Agraharas refer chesinu. So there was a tradition called donating lands to the Brahmins introduced by Shatavahanas. So ఈ బ్రాహ్మణికల్ ల్యాండ్స్ ను ఎప్పటి నుంచి అగ్రహారాస్ అన్నారు? గుప్తుల కాలం నుంచి. ఎస్పెషలీ దిస్ పర్టికులర్ ఇన్స్క్రిప్షన్, నలంద కాపర్ ప్లేట్ ఇన్స్క్రిప్షన్, నలంద తామ్ర శాసనం ఉంటుంది. సో నలంద కాపర్ ప్లేట్ ఇన్స్క్రిప్షన్ ఆఫ్ Samudragupta, where we found the term called Agrahara. Besides, the same Nalanda copper plate inscription refers these lands were given tax exemption. Extremely important. Nalanda copper plate inscription mentions the Brahmanika lands as Agraharas. At the same time, the same Agraharas were given tax exemption. Right? It's all about Nalanda copper plate inscription. Now come to Iran Bor inscription by Bhanu Gupta, one of the rulers from Gupta dynasty. Iran Bor inscription. Bor, one of the incarnations of Lord Vishnu, and the same Bor or Varaha happened to be the royal emblem of Guptans. మన మార్నింగ్ సెషన్లో భాగంగా రెఫర్ చేశాం the royal emblem of Cholas, royal emblem of Pandyas, royal emblem of Cheras, now royal emblem of Guptans, Varaha, the boar. So Iran Bor inscription, can you know what is the significance of Iran Bor inscription? Koncham gattina. The first inscriptional evidence of Sati. First inscriptional evidence of Sati from Iran Bor inscription. Malenti first inscriptional evidence of Sati annappudu, one of the events we found when Kumaragupta was the ruler of Guptan Empire, followed by Skanda, followed by Bhanu. Inga chaala mandi unnaru. So Bhanu Gupta and all that. Enti annappudu, that is Hun invasion. The invasion of Hunas or Huns, the nomads from Central Asia. So Huns invaded northwestern India when Kumaragupta was ruler. For the first time, Huns invaded when Kumaragupta was ruler. What is the response of Kumaragupta? Like, the gentleman defeated Huns. They were expelled from northwestern India. After the death of Kumaragupta, the same Huns found inefficient rulers in India. So they started attacking on Indian subcontinent. They plundered northwestern Indian cities. They occupied northwestern Indian cities. The same Huns also occupied western India, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Pranta. When Huns were making further what we call the intrusion, when Bhanugupta was a ruler of Pataliputra, the capital of Gupta Empire. What is the response of Bhanugupta? Bhanugupta sent forces, that is like say Guptan forces, to stop Hun invasion. So we found a fields battle wherein Guptan forces shot out to pieces, and the Guptan Senani, especially Bhanugupta Senani Vretunaro, so that Babu also got killed. Having got to know the death of what we call Guptan Senani, ఆయన విడో క్వీన్ ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో, షీ పర్ఫార్మ్డ్ సతీ. అంటే ఈ థీమ్ని తీసుకొని ఈయన భానుగుప్త ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో, లైక్ హీ ఇన్స్క్రైబ్డ్ ఇన్స్క్రిప్షన్ ఆన్ బోర్. సో ఎరాన్ బోర్ ఇన్స్క్రిప్షన్. When I say Iran-Bor inscription of Bhanu Gupta belonged to Guptan period was the earliest Sati evidence, inscription evidence annappudu. It does not mean before Guptans there was no Sati. Unnedi bodhu unchukunedi bodhu. Sati practice was there right from the days of later Vedic period. మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ ఎందుకు ఇంత హైలైట్ చేస్తున్నాం అంటే ఇట్స్ వాస్ ద ఫస్ట్ టైం we found inscriptional evidence. Right. It's all about the respective inscriptions. Then how about we have numismatical sources annappudu. I've been learning that is gold coins, silver coins and copper coins. Gold coins indicate prosperous economy, silver coins indicate healthy economy and copper coins indicate bad economy. Even below copper we have potin, మన మార్నింగ్ క్లాస్లో రెఫర్ చేశాం, and lead coins. Shatavahanas, especially after Datta Gautamiputra Shatakarni, the later Shatavahanas were associated with potin coins and lead coins. A very worst economy quality. Right? Now come to Guptans. Guptans issued what we call gold coins, especially Chandragupta the first, followed by Samudragupta, followed by Chandragupta the second. Ikkada varaku gold coins. By the time you go to Kumaragupta's period, we found silver coins. And after the death of Kumaragupta, we found silver and copper. What does that mean? Gradual decline of Guptan territories. మన మార్నింగ్ క్లాసెస్లో రెఫర్ చేసి ఉండొచ్చు. సో డబుల్ డైస్టక్ కాయిన్స్, హూ ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ డబుల్ డైస్టక్ కాయిన్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియా? ఇండో గ్రీక్స్. సో డబుల్ డైస్టక్ కాయిన్స్ విముఖ నాణ్యాలు అంటాం. ఆబ్వర్డ్స్ అండ్ రివర్డ్స్. ఆబ్వర్డ్స్లో ఇమేజెస్ ఉంటాయి, రివర్డ్స్లో టైటిల్స్ ఉంటాయి. We found maximum images like riding on horse, that is Ashwamedha Yaga. We also found in one image the family in one coin, the family pictures of Chandragupta the first and Kumara Devi. We also found like say coins that is Samudragupta playing Veena. ఈ కంటెక్స్ట్ లో ఈ బాబుకు కవిరాజ్ అనే టైటిల్ ఇవ్వడం జరిగింది. మార్నింగ్ క్లాస్ లో రెఫర్ చేశాం. There are 4 rulers who took the title called Kaviraja. Who are they? Hala, Samudragupta, Amoghavarsha, Paramara, Bhoja. So on one hand, the sculptures are the images of both Kumara Devi and Chandragupta. On the other hand, the goddess Lakshmi. So దానికంటే ముందు we have a question we found in 2019. With reference to forced labor, that is Vishti, మన తెలుగులో వెట్టి చాకరీ అంటాం, in India, with reference to forced labor in India during the Guptan period, which of the following statements is correct? First statement, it was considered a source of income for the state, a sort of tax paid by the people. Option B, it was totally absent in the Madhya Pradesh and Kathiawar regions of Guptan Empire. Option C, the forced labor was entitled to weekly wages and the eldest son of the laborer was sent as a forced laborer. What's the right answer? What's the right answer? హలో, గుడ్ ఆఫ్టర్నూన్. ఉన్నారా లేకుంటే ఉన్నారా లేకపోతే శవాశ్రమంలోకి వెళ్తున్నారా? అంటే ఇప్పుడే భోజనం వచ్చిన కానీ వాట్స్ రైట్ ఆన్సర్? మీకు దండం పెట్టి ఆల్రెడీ 2 ఎలిమినేట్ చేసిన, ఇంకా ఇంకోటి ఎలిమినేట్ చేయాలంటే నేను ఏం చేయలేను. నన్ను ఎలిమినేట్ చేస్తారు ఇక. రావాలి. అచ్చా, ఏ కొంతమంది డి అనమాట. నీ ఇష్టం ఏదన్నా పెట్టుకో. Sure. So right answer is option A. It was considered as a source of income for the state, a sort of tax paid by the people. Look at the board. Throughout history, we found taxes were paid by the people, or people were given 2 options. One is in the form of cash or in the form of kind. ఈ kind లో in the form of grain, in the form of labor. That's it. ఈ లేబర్ కిందనే మనకు విష్టి వస్తుంది. Wisht is a Sanskrit term, the English version forced labor. Work to be done without wages. భువననే పెడతారు खाना रखते నాది బిర్యానీ వాళ్ళ ఖానా అంద ఖానా నువ్వు వస్తానంటే నేను వద్దంటానా గుడ్డు కారం అంద ఖానా అంద సిద్ధార్థ ఆ ఖానా ఆ ఖానా అంటే బడా ఖానా చోటా ఖానా కాదు రైట్ పెడతారు కాల్ పెట్ కాట్ తినని చెప్పి ఫోర్స్ లేబర్. సో క్యాష్ కైండ్లో మనకు గ్రెయిన్ ఉంటుంది, లేబర్ ఉంటుంది. Now come to political history, very peripheral political history. So Sri Gupta, the founder, Samudragupta, the great ruler, the last ruler వచ్చేసి మనకు Vishnugupta. So first two rulers వచ్చేసి మనకు they were the what we call say feudatories of Kushans. Feudatories of Kushans, and right from the days of Chandragupta the first, we found independent rule of Guptans antam. Right, XYZ titles unte just చూసుకోండి. Samudragupta, obviously the greatest ruler because the gentleman expanded the territories. And once again, when you understand the political history of Indian subcontinent, the entire political history revolves around two, that is political disunity and political unity, rajakiya anaikyata and aikyata. For example, to make you understand ఏంటి పొలిటికల్ డిస్యూనిటీ అండ్ పొలిటికల్ యూనిటీ అన్నప్పుడు ఈ చాప్టరైజేషన్లో భాగంగా అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి. చాప్టరైజేషన్లో భాగంగా పొలిటికల్ యూనిటీ అండ్ పొలిటికల్ డిస్యూనిటీ అన్నప్పుడు నా కమ్ టు ప్రీ-మౌర్యన్ ఏజ్. ప్రీ-మౌర్యన్ ఏజ్ ఈజ్ నోన్ ఫర్ పొలిటికల్ డిస్యూనిటీ. వై? హౌ? Smaller kingdoms, 16 kingdoms. Whenever you talk about disunity, ఇది ఒక ప్రొఫార్మా ఉంటుంది. Whenever you talk about disunity, you shall keep in mind always wars. దాన్ని మనం ముందుగా సివిల్ వార్స్ అంటాం, అంతర్యుద్ధాలు. Besides civil wars or conflicts, we also found foreign invasion. Keep in mind, whenever you talk about disunity, so these are the two elements. Whether you talk about pre-Mauryan age, post-Mauryan age, post-Guptan age, early medieval age, because these all the ages are best example of political disunity. So if someone asks a question, did we find wars in pre-Mauryan age, and the answer is yes. Magadhan kingdom versus Avanti, Magadhan kingdom versus XYZ kingdoms. దాన్ని మనం చాలా పాష్గా వార్స్ అంటాం. నా మళ్ళీ సివిల్ వార్ అన్నప్పుడు ఫారినర్స్ వచ్చారన్నప్పుడు ఆన్సర్ ఈస్, డిడ్ ఫారినర్స్ కమ్ ఇన్ ప్రీ-Mauryan age? Did foreigners invade Indian subcontinent in pre-Mauryan age? Yes. Who are they? కొంచెం గట్టిగా, అంత పెద్ద పేర్లు వద్దు. పర్షియన్స్ అండ్ గ్రీక్స్. Persian invasions, Greek invasions. Northwestern India was never part of Magadhan Empire. I repeat, Northwestern India was never part of Magadhan Empire. So Magadhan Empire and Magadhan Kingdom was ruled by Haryankas, Shishunagas, Nandas. Only when Mauryans became the rulers of Magadhan territories, it was Chandragupta Maurya who brought Northwestern India to Magadhan Empire. So Mauryan age, political unity. Political unity, no civil wars, no foreign invasion. That's it. Okay, no civil wars, no foreign invasions ante malli edo jarigitadu. Yes, organized administration, prosperous economy and developments in culture. That's the aroma of political unity. Now post-Mauryan age is known for disunity, constant conflicts, foreign invasions. Now come to foreigners. 4 foreign dynasties రాసుకున్నాం. Indo-Greeks, Shakas, Parthians, Kushans. ఒక ఆర్గనైజ్డ్ వేలో. That's it. Guptan age, once again political unity. Post-Guptan age, once again political disunity. We found Hun invasion. గుప్తుల కాలం అంటే మనకు from the days of Skandagupta weak rulers, we found Hun invasions continued during the reign of Post-Gupta. ఇక్కడితో అయిపోయిందా, బంద్ చేస్తావా? నో, గో టు ఎర్లీ మిడివల్ ఏజ్. అక్కడ పెద్ద పొలిటికల్ డిస్యూనిటీ అన్నమాట. Only North India you come across 36 Rajput dynasties. Only North India alone. Obviously, we won't discuss these dynasties, hardly half a dozen dynasties. That is Pratiharas, Paramaras, Solankis, Chandelas, Gahadwalas, Chauhans. Eastern India lo Palas and Senas. Deccan lo Rashtrakutas and Kalyani Chalukyas. When it comes to South India, Tanjavur Cholas. Early medieval age. Constant conflicts. Outcome, Muslim invasion. అంటే ఒక ప్రొఫార్మా ఉంటుంది. దీన్ని మనం చాలా పాష్గా ఏమంటామంటే హిస్టరీ రిపీట్స్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్. ఇది బాలయ్యబాబు డైలాగ్ కాదు, మన డైలాగ్ కాపీ కొట్టాడు. ఓకే చలో. సో పొలిటికల్ యూనిటీ అండ్ పొలిటికల్ డిస్యూనిటీ. As I was telling, the early Guptans, T. Gupta and Ghatotkacha, they were the feudatories of Kushans, and from the days of Chandragupta the first we found independent journey, and from when Samudragupta was a ruler, like no further expansion, Chandragupta the second expansion, Kumaragupta the first expansion, and after the death of Kumaragupta we found a gradual decline of Guptan Empire. So when I say by the time Samudragupta, Chandragupta the second, the Guptan Empire reached to the celestial heights, ఒకసారి పైనకి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ ఏంటి, దా కిందికి రా అని చెప్తారు. After the same towards Mauryan Ashoka. By the time Ashoka was the ruler, Mauryan Empire reached to the climax. So after the death of Mauryan Ashoka, so it's all about political history. When it comes to cultural part lo bhanga, focus must be on Chandragupta II, because Chandragupta II tradition says the gentleman patronized Navaratnas. The 9 scholars lived in the court of Chandragupta II or Chandragupta Vikramaditya. Navaratnas. Out of 9 scholars, only 1 scholar happened to be Prakrit by name Vajra or Varasuchi. Vajra Suchi. Remaining all scholars happen to be Sanskrit. ఈయనొక్కని మీద ఫోకస్ చేయండి, ఎందుకంటే ఆల్వేస్ ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ మీద ఫోకస్ చేస్తారు. అది ఇండస్ వ్యాలీ సివిలైజేషన్ టౌన్ ప్లానింగ్, రైట్? ప్రీవియస్ సెషన్ వీ హ్యావ్ లర్న్ డిమార్కేషన్ ఆఫ్ టౌన్స్, అండర్ గ్రౌండ్ డ్రైనేజ్ సిస్టమ్, అప్పర్ టౌన్స్, లోయర్ టౌన్స్, కొన్ని ఎక్సెప్షన్స్, అట్లీస్ట్ లైక్ ద 4 cities ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి, వాటి మీద ఫోకస్ చేయండి. అప్లై ద సేమ్ టువర్డ్స్ ఇక్కడ Vajrasochi. Except Vajrasochi, the remaining all happen to be Sanskrit scholars. We have Vishnu Sharma, Kalidasa, right? We have Sushruta, at least 8 scholars happen to be Sanskrit. So which one of the following books of ancient India has a love story of the son of the founder of Shunga dynasty? That's a very good one. Malavikagni-mitra. So Malavikagni-mitra, it's a love story of Malavika and Agnimitra. So it was a what we call a Sanskrit drama written by Kalidasa. Be good at Kalidasa's books. He wrote many natakas. He also wrote many kavyas. What is the difference between natakas and kavyas? नाटक का मतलब क्या होता है? ड्रामा. काव्या, poem, poetry. Okay, then you can tell me the difference between natakas and kavyas. కొంచెం గట్టిగా ఎక్కడ నేను చెప్తాను సార్, నువ్వు పెట్టుకోవాలన్నమాట. కానీ నాటకాస్, సేయింగ్ సంథింగ్, Natakas were written in the form of prose. Kavyas in the form of poetry. But major differences na. We're not here to do PhD in literature. Koi baat nahi. Now come to inkemana differences unnai? Any other difference between Natakas and Kavyas? Koncham gattiga. Okay, Natakas lo more characters untai, right? Okay, then how about Kavyas? Oka character untundi. నాటకాస్లో there won't be scope for description. ఎక్కడ నాటకాస్లో there won't be scope for description because there are so many characters to be spoken. Skit, drama. Now come to Kavyaslo, since the story revolves around one character. అనగనగా ఒక రాజ్యము, ఆ రాజ్యంలో రాకుమార్తె, ఆమె అందంగా ఉంటుంది చూడు, ఆ అందం చుట్టే ఒక 10 పేజీలు రాస్తాడు. బికాస్ డిస్క్రిప్షన్ ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది. దట్ ఇస్ ద డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ నాటకాస్ అండ్ కావ్య. అండ్ వి ఫౌండ్ క్వశ్చన్స్, 3 నాటకాస్ 1 kavya, 3 kavyas and 1 natakar. You can't question that all books happen to be Kalidasas. Question అడిగిన రాలేదు, చిలిపి పనులు చేయమాక. అన్నీ కూడా బుక్సేనండి. ఆ బుక్స్లో 3 నాటకాస్ ఉంటాయి, 1 కావ్యం ఉంటుంది. 3 కావ్యాస్ ఉంటాయి, 1 నాటకం ఉంటుంది. As I was telling in the previous session, let me tell you once again, tomorrow I will also tell. The main motto of competitive exams to eliminate you people. ఎంతమందిని ఇన్వైట్ చేస్తారు? 10 లక్షల మంది ఏడ కూర్చోబెడతారు. ఫస్ట్ కొట్టని చెప్పి, వన్స్ యూ క్రాస్ దిస్ 80 to 85%, you will be unstoppable. Once you cross this, కొంచెం గట్టి కూర్చోవాలి, 1-2 సార్లు చెక్ చేసుకోవాలి. నాకు వచ్చింది అయినా పర్లేదు, ఇంకోసారి చెక్ చేసుకో. రైట్, స్టార్ట్ వర్కింగ్ ఆన్ దీస్ లైన్స్. Now come to general conditions. మళ్ళీ జనరల్ కండిషన్స్ అనేది ఎక్కువగా ఫోకస్ చేయాలి. As I was telling, UPSC concentrates on socio-economic and cultural history, right? Now come to society. Last class lo we might have learned the social conditions of post-modern age, 200 BC to 300 AD, right? Post-modern age. Now here 300 AD to the general conditions of 250 years. Now come to society. Society, 2 elements, social stratification and position of women. Now social stratification, consolidation of Chaturvarna system. Revival kottara అయిపోయింది. Next what? Consolidation of Chaturvarna system. What is it by consolidation of Chaturvarna system? Same, whatever the stuff which we might have learnt as part of later Vedic period, cut, copy and paste. Social discriminations, Dvijas, Ekajas, it went on that. What is the aroma of Guptan society? Social stratification, Chaturvarna system. Now come to position of women. Same, patriarchal society, socially subordinate position, high caste women and low caste women. High caste women and low caste women, which we have learnt as part of post-Mauryan age. High caste women were given good position. Low caste women were associated with all sorts of abusive practices, including the same low caste women lo manaku ikkada dowry system. In fact, women position annappudu manaku dowry system raavadam jarigindi. And come to low caste women ku Devadasi system add cheyadam jarigindi. This is a new institution, remaining cut, copy and paste. Only 2 new institutions born and brought up in Guptan society, that is like in 300 AD to 150 AD. In general, dowry system for, right, entire women community, dowry system, and even today it is being continued. You can't imagine Indian marriage without dowry. నేను సివిల్ సర్వీస్ ప్రిపేర్ అయినా ఇవ్వనంటే ఇవ్వకు పెళ్లి కాదని చెప్తారు. సమాజానికి ఇచ్చారు కాదు, నేను ఏమని చెప్పలేదు, జనరల్ చెప్తాను. రైట్, నా కమ్ టు దేవదాసి సిస్టమ్. So Devadasi system born and brought up in Guptan society. Let me tell you, Devadasi system was associated with low caste women. And the first text to be referred Devadasi system. Can anyone? What's the name of the text to be referred Devadasi system for the first time? A drama మీద ఒక ఆమె సినిమా కూడా చేసింది, ఇది గుర్తుంటుంది. ఓకే, ఏదోటి అభిజ్ఞాన శాకుంతలం, ఆల్సో లవ్ స్టోరీ. శకుంతల దుష్యంత, వెరీ అందరు దుష్యంత అండ్ శాకుంతల. వాచారా? మాదంతా కార్తీక దీపం సీరియల్ సార్, నేనేం చేయలేను. కార్తీక దీపము, లోట పీసు, అందరూ ఒకే మొఖాలు ఒకేటి ఉంటాయి కదా, కొరియన్ మొఖాలు ఉంటాయి కదా కొన్ని, నేనేం చేయలేదు. రైట్, चलो कोई बात नहीं, ये सब मिल जाओ. Now come to Abhignana Shakuntalam was the earliest text to talk about Devadasi system. So let me pose the question, why Devadasi system born and brought up in Guptan period? What was the reason? బొమ్మలు కూడా తెచ్చావా ఏదో పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ కోసం? డ్యూ టు రివైవల్ ఆఫ్ బ్రాహ్మణికల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్. ఓకే, ఇంకేమైనా ఉందా? కొంచెం గట్టిగా. Why Devadasi system born and brought up in Guptan period only? Why didn't we find the system in post-Mauryan age? Why didn't we find the system in Mauryan age? Why only here? ఆ బొమ్మలు చూడడం మానేసింది నేను. నువ్వు పెట్టావు కదా సార్. ఓకే సార్ ఏంటి ఫస్ట్ ఇది చెప్తుంటా, బొమ్మలు చూసుకుంటూ కూర్చుంది. దేవదాసి సిస్టమ్ కొంచెం గట్టిగా. టెంపుల్ ఆఫరింగ్స్, గుడ్. ఇంకేమైనా ఉందా? కొంచెం గట్టినా. ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ లేబర్, గుడ్. ఇంకేమైనా ఉందా? వై ఓన్లీ హియర్? The emergence of temple. You have to understand why the systems, question mark పెట్టుకోండి. When you understand the system with question mark, let me tell you, you won't forget. Right? Now, with this background, come to Devadasi system annappudu. So, manaku temple concept, which I'll be going to speak as part of temple architecture. For the first time, surviving temples in India built by Guptans. Now, whenever we talk about temples, to maintain cleanliness, you require a group of people, right? The sources tell us, at the beginning we found a group of people who used to involve in cleanliness of the temple volunteer basis. And let me tell you, volunteer basis, if not today, over a period of time, it gets disappeared. It's a human nature, unfortunately. నేను ఎప్పుడు నేనే చేయాలి, వాడు చేయడా అని చెప్పి. It's a human nature. Now, what is response of the custodians of Hindu religion or Hindu society, the Brahmins? They determined to create the system where a group of people shall dedicate their life for the temple service. That just the Devadasi system. Now, why you are using the term called Devadasi? Why not Dasa? అనేది కూడా అర్థం చేసుకోండి. Deva, God, goddess. Dasi, female servant. Right? Now, why did the custodians of Hindu religion go for female servants or girl childs? Annappudu, we have to understand the nature of the subjects. That is, boys and girls, men and women. You can easily exploit the girl childs. Devadasi, girl childs, or a period of time, women. And even today, I'm talking about the difference between men and women are boys and girls. Soft, evaru girls. Nika అనిపిస్తుందా సార్? అంటే సమాచారికి ఇష్టరా కాపీ. అందరూ డ్రమ్ములని యూజ్ చేస్తారు, అందరూ ఫ్రిడ్జ్లోనే పెడతారు. ఇది అక్కడిక్కడ ఉంటారు కొంతమంది. ఓకే, పూర్తి చేసి చెప్పురా, కాల్ చేస్తాను. కొత్త కొత్త ఐడియాస్ కూడా ఇవ్వు. మానవత్వం లేకుండా పోతుంది. ఓకే, సో దేవదాసి సిస్టమ్. ఇక్కడ ఇన్ ది సిస్టమ్, a girl child be invited to temple service. I have watched many movies. Shyam Singh Rai. You watch a movie called Jogwa, Marathi. Jogwa. Chala movies ఉన్నాయి. Jogini system antam, bus winning, chala ఉన్నాయి. So in this system, a girl child enters in temple service, right? So what is the main duty of a girl child or Devadasi annappudu? So she is supposed to involve in temple cleaning, right? Some sort of such bharat. It went on. For a period of time, the same Devadasis were also given additional work, that is entertaining the devotees. Classical dancers, the so-called, right? Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, even. It went on. ఇక్కడ వరకు బాగానే ఉంది. System was created by Brahmins, with XYZ intentions. Now, the same system got abused. The same system was like, say, thoroughly misused by selfish people, especially men and selfish priestly class. And in order to tell you, once again, you might have watched a movie called Shyam Singharai. Right? So, ఈ దేవదాసీలను వీళ్ళను ఫిజికల్గా అబ్యూజ్ చేశారు. It is not too exaggerate to say the same temple dancers became temple prostitutes. ఇక్కడ సిస్టాన్ని మొత్తం దబిడిదిబిడి చేశాం. Now the question starts here. Devadasis have got children, right? They have got children. These children, they were quite aware of mother but not father. మరి ఇలాంటి చిల్డ్రన్కు over a period of time, we're going to learn Bhakti movement over a period of time. So ఇలాంటి చిల్డ్రన్కు హరిజన్ అనే పదాన్ని యాడ్ చేయడం జరిగింది. హరిజన్, the children of God, which we're going to learn as part of Bhakti movement and even like say modern Indian history, Harijans. So it's all about, now come to with reference to, right, it's all about society. As far as society is concerned, Chaturuna system got consolidated. Position of women further became deteriorated, especially the position of low caste content, right? Now come to the second component of Guptan general conditions, economy, right? Now come to economy. Whenever we talk about economy, three components: agriculture, industries, and trade and commerce. Now come to, compared with post-Mauryan economy, Guptan economy got deteriorated for various reasons. One of the major reasons happened to be feudalism. One of the major reasons happened to be feudalism. Enti feudalism annappudu we have learned Shatavahanas introduced land grants to Brahmins. The same tradition followed by Guptans. The same Guptans also gave lands to high rank officers. I repeat, we found a tradition among the Guptans. Guptans started giving lands to high rank officers as part of salary. High rank officers, low rank officers, high rank officers were given salaries as part in the form of land, not in the form of cash. మళ్ళీ వీళ్ళని ఏమంటామంటే feudal lords, landlords. And whenever we talk about feudalism, landlordism, Bhuswami Vyavastha, Ikta system, Zagirdar system, Zamindar system, whatever the system you talk about, the old wine in a new bottle. One of the defects of economy, presence of feudal institutions. Because whenever you talk about feudal economy or feudal institutions, you shall keep in mind less agricultural production. When you talk about less agricultural production, what happens to industries? Industrial growth will also be reduced. Now, you have less agricultural production and less industrial growth. What happens to trade and commerce? Trade and commerce also get declined. This is what we call say the major disadvantage of feudalism. Now, keeping aside, whenever we talk about internal trade and external trade, external trade also got steadily reduced. One of the major reasons why external trade reduced in Guptan period annappudu, we have to understand that is external factors. Roman Empire got declined in Europe. Post-Mauryan age lo, the major consumer of Indian products have happened to be Roman Empire. How Roman Empire got declined annappudu, the credit goes to Huns. Manam indaaka refer chesam. Huns who had come from Central Asia. We found two branches among the Huns, black Huns and white Huns. White Huns successfully gave a blow to Guptan Empire. Because of one of the major reasons why Guptan Empire got declined annappudu, major white Huns. Then how about black Huns? Black Huns successfully destroyed Roman. One of the major consumers of post-Mauryan commodities, that is Roman Empire. Now, by the time Guptan Empire got disappeared, so we found massive impact on trade and commerce, especially external trade Gupta Empire. I'm not saying when Roman Empire got disappeared, then how about Guptan trade and commerce? Is Guptans focused on Southeast Asian kingdoms. Guptan rulers focused on Southeast Asian kingdoms. The same Guptan rulers were sending what we call coins to Southeast Asian countries, Southeast Asian kingdoms, because compared with Indian subcontinent, Southeast Asian kingdoms have more spices. How? We used to get earlier foreign reserves. Now in Guptan period, Southeast Asian kingdoms started getting foreign reserves from us. So compared with post-modern economy, Guptan economy anedi chala taggindi anta, right? It's all about society and economy. When it comes to economy, agriculture, industries and trade and commerce annappudu, ee trade and commerce leda industries, every industry has its own guild. Shreni antam Sanskritamlo, Vartaka Sanghalu antam. We have, by the time we go to the Cholas, we have Ayyavolu, Nana Des, we have different guild system antam. Guild system మీద మన questions రావడం జరిగింది. With reference to guilds or Shreni of ancient India that played a very important role in the country's economy, which of the following statements is or correct? Every guild was registered with the central authority of the state and the king was the chief administrative authority on them. Is it correct? I repeat the first statement. Every guild was registered with the central authority of the state and the king was the chief administrative authority on them. Is it correct? Guilds are nothing to do with kingdom. As I was telling, every profession has its own association of merchants. Second, the wages, rules of work, standards and prices were fixed by the guild. Generally, even today, forget about then, even today, whenever you go to any what we call village sandies అంటాం, సంతలు అంటాం తెలుగులో, మనకి ఈవెన్ అశోక్ నగర్, గాంధీనగర్లో కూడా ఉంటాయి. So whenever you go to them, you just ask the price. కిలో టమాటాలు ఏదో ఒకటి నెంబర్ చెప్తారు, ఏదో ఒక ఫిగర్ చెప్తారు. ఒక 100 meters వెళ్ళండి, అక్కడ అదే ఫిగర్ చెప్తారు. ఎందుకు సేమ్ ఫిగర్ సేమ్ అమౌంట్ అన్నప్పుడు? టు రెడ్యూస్ ద ఫేక్ కాంపిటీషన్. every what we call profession has guilds, let me tell you, even today, right? Second statement is correct. The third one, the guild had judicial powers over its own members. Yes, if someone has done some mistake or some some may involve in what we call furious activities, alanti valani punish chese adhikaram guilds kundantam. What is the right answer then? 2 and 3 only. With reference to the period of Gupta dynasty in ancient India, the towns Ghantasala, Kadura and Chaul were well known as ports handling foreign trade, capital of powerful kingdoms, places of exquisite stone art and architecture, important Buddhist pilgrimage centers. What are the right answer? Ports handling foreign trade, Ghantasala, which comes in Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh. Kadura and Chaul, western coast, Maharashtra, Chaul. Now come to art forms, Guptan art forms, sculptures, paintings and metallurgy. Sculptures. In post-modern age, we have learned 3 art forms, Gandhara, Mathura and Amaravati. Keeping aside Amaravati, Guptans were associated with Gandhara and Mathura. That's it, right? They simply patronized. So sculptures annappudu, we have the famous sculpture from Guptan period, Sultanganj Buddha. It's a bronze sculpture, 2-meter height bronze statue of Buddha discovered at Sultanganj, which comes in Bihar. At present, Sultanganj Buddha is not associated in India, so Buddha was taken to Buckingham Palace in London. అంటే మన దగ్గర ఉంటే పోగొట్టుకున్న ఉద్దేశంతో వాళ్ళు తీసుకెళ్లారని పాజిటివ్గా ఆలోచించడం నేర్చుకోండి. ఓకే, వాళ్ళు కొట్టుకెళ్లారు, తీసుకెళ్లారు కాదు, రైట్? సో Sultanganj Buddha is no more with us, right? Now one more, that is sculpture అన్నప్పుడు మనకు iron pillar at Mehrauli and the standing statues of Parshvanatha. What is the symbol of Parshvanatha, which we have learned in the previous session? Rishabhnath symbol వచ్చేసి Rishabhnath, bull, Rishabhamu, right? Say Neminatha, 22nd Tirthankar, conch, 23rd Tirthankar, snake, multi-hooded snake, Adisheshu, and 24th Tirthankar, lion. So Varaha sculptures. In Hinduism, we have two branches, right? Say Shaivism and Vaishnavism. Guptans were associated with Hinduism, to be specific, Vaishnavism. Because maximum sculptures ganivandi, temples ganivandi, built for Lord Vishnu. Now come to painting, second component. Paintings annappudu, we found paintings even in post-Mauryan age. Same paintings of post-Mauryan age further enlarged by Guptan rulers under. Especially the paintings of Guptans found at 4 places: Bagu Caves, Madhya Pradesh, Ajanta, Ellora, Maharashtra, and Sugriva, Sri Lanka. One of the famous paintings of Guptan period which we found in cave number 16 and 17, that is Padma Pani. One of the Bodhisattvas, Padma Pani. Buddha holding lotus, Padma Pani. Take an example of Ajanta caves. For about 35 caves we found in Ajanta, a group of caves. Right? So out of 35 caves, caves number 16 and 17 belonged to Guptan period. Because for about 550 years, the respective dynasties which ruled over Deccan. For example, only when you understand the history of Deccan, Deccan was ruled by Asmaka or Asaka, Mahajanapadas. So after Asmaka or Asaka, we found Shatavahanas. So after Shatavahanas, the territory is divided into 3 parts. From morning class to refer Marathi speaking territories, Telugu speaking territories, Kannada speaking territories. Marathi speaking territories, Abhiras, whose capital was Nasik. Telugu speaking territories, Ikshwakus, they ruled from Vijaypuri. And Kannada speaking territories, Chotu Shatavahanas, their capital was Banavasi. Right? So when Abhiras gradually got declined, the same Marathi speaking territories were taken by a dynasty called Vakataka dynasty. And the same Vakatakas occupied Deccan. After Shatavahanas, Vakatakas ruled over Deccan. After the decline of Vakatakas, we found Badami Chalukyas, followed by Rashtrakutas, followed by Kalyani Chalukyas. After Kalyani Chalukyas, the so-called Deccan divided into 2 parts, that is North Deccan and South Deccan. North Deccan by Yadavas, whose capital was Devagiri, another districts in Maharashtra. Come to South Deccan by Kakatiyas, whose capital was Orugallu, Telangana. All performance all chesharu. Over a period of time, the same North Deccan and South Deccan became part and parcel of Delhi Sultanate. Devagiri annexed to Delhi Sultanate, and Orugallu was also annexed to Delhi Sultanate by Peche Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Right? For a period of time, the same Deccan came out from Delhi Sultanate, what do we call Bahmani Sultanate. We'll దాదాపు 150 years వీళ్ళు performing చేశారు. So after the disintegration of Bahmani Sultanate, we found 5 Muslim kingdoms. Where? In Deccan. That is Ahmednagar, Berar, Bidar, Bijapur, and Golconda. 5 Muslim kingdoms. We found constant conflicts between 5 Deccan Muslim kingdoms and Mughals. The same Deccan Muslim kingdoms became part and parcel of Mughal Empire. And it was in 1724, once again the Deccan came out from Mughal Empire. That is, what do we call Asaf Jahis, or Hyderabad state you call it. 1724 to 1948. Be good at history of Deccan, right from Asaka to Asaf. So ikkada, as I was telling, that is like Ajanta caves. Ajanta caves were patronized by Shatavahanas, followed by Abhiras followed by Vakatakas and even Guptans. Not Badami Chalukyas, Guptans. Because Badami Chalukyas were associated with their own art. Out of 35 Ajanta caves, these two caves, cave number 16 and 17, belonged to Guptan period. So we have Buddhist paintings, we have Hindu paintings, we have even secular paintings. Finally, the temple architecture. As far as temple architecture is concerned, for our convenience and exam point of view, the entire temple architecture broadly divided into two parts. The classification evaru chesarani manaku question raavadam jarigindi by name SK Saraswati. SK Saraswati, one of the historians, come sculptors, was responsible for the classification of Guptan temples into two parts, that is rock cut cave temples and structural temples. Enti rock cut cave temples annappudu, that is taking a big boulder, giving a form of a temple. When I say temple, you suppose not to understand the three styles. In the morning session we have learned, that is Nagara style, otherwise called as Shikara style, Vesara style, Dravidian style. Nagara style can also be called as Panchayatan style. Guptan style can also be called as Panchayatan style. I am not talking about rock cut cave temples ఏ విధంగా ఉంటాయి అన్నప్పుడు ఈ విధంగా ఉంటాయి అన్నప్పుడు no, you never come across rock cut cave temples. So this is how Vimana come across, or say Shikhar come across. This is how, no. Then what? Rock cut cave temples అన్నప్పుడు sculptors take a big boulder or some sort of hillock. They give a form of a structure. That's it. They give a form of a structure. ఈ స్ట్రక్చర్లో యూ కమ్ అక్రాస్ సమ్ సార్ట్ ఆఫ్ స్కల్ప్చర్స్ ఆర్ స్టాచ్యూస్. సో వీటిని మనం ఏమని పరిగణించాలి అంటే టెంపుల్స్ అని పరిగణించాలి. రాక్ కట్ కేవ్ టెంపుల్. Guptans had how many capitals? Capitals in ఒక్క క్వశ్చన్ పడతాను. ఏదో అడిగినట్టున్నా అంటే అడిగిన మళ్ళీ ఆన్సర్ చెప్తావు కదా సార్, అందుకని వెయిట్. 2 capitals. వాట్ ఆర్ దే? పాటలీపుత్ర, ఉజ్జయిన్. ఇంకేమైనా ఉన్నాయా? గుడ్. నౌ when she says Guptans have got 2 capitals, పాటలీపుత్ర అండ్ ఉజ్జయిన్. ఇంకేమైనా ఉన్నాయా? Guptans have got totally 3 capitals. They have started their journey from Prayaga, followed by Patliputra, and Patliputra became permanent capital of Guptans. And we consider Patliputra as administrative capital when it comes to Ujjain cultural capital, Samskrutika Rajdhani. By the time you go to Chalukyas also have got 2 capitals, Badami and Pattadakal. Badami, administrative capital. Pattadakal, cultural capital. Now go to Deccan, South India. Pallavas also got 2 capitals. What were they? Kanchi and Kanchipuram or Mahabalipuram. Kanchipuram or Kanchi administrative capital. Mahabalipuram, cultural capital. Apply the same towards early medieval age. Rajputs, followed by Delhi Sultanate, followed by Mughal Sultanate. Ante ikkada nunchi manaku administrative capital, cultural capital. Then if someone asks a question, ఏ ప్రాతిపదిక మీద ఒక టౌన్ ను కల్చరల్ క్యాపిటల్ గా పరిగణిస్తారు? కెన్ ఎనీవన్? On what grounds a town to be considered as a cultural capital? Architecture. If you come across in one town at one place so many constructions, maybe religious constructions, అవి చైత్యాస్ కావచ్చు, బసదీస్ కావచ్చు, టెంపుల్స్ కావచ్చు, రే పీరియడ్ ఆఫ్ టైం మాస్ కావచ్చు, రే పీరియడ్ ఆఫ్ టైం దర్గాస్ కావచ్చు, వాట్ ఎవర్. సో ఆ ప్రాతిపదిక మీద దీన్ని మనం కల్చరల్ క్యాపిటల్. Prayaga, followed by Patliputra, followed by Ujjain. So these are what I'm trying to tell you. Ujjain, where we found a group of caves. A group of caves. Artham chesukovali. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For about 12 caves we found. A series of 12 caves. ఈ 12 caves అన్ని కూడా associated with Vaishnava caves. Though Guptans were associated with Hinduism, especially of Vaishnavism. మనం ఇందాక కొన్ని స్కల్ప్చర్స్ చూసాం. These sculptures, like we have taken from Udaygiri caves, Udaygiri, Madhya Pradesh, Ujjain. Right? So in rock cut cave temples, a big boulder would be taken, the boulder would be given the shape. Right? So మనకు అంటే జనరల్గా వాటి మనము మంటపాస్గా మండపము, a hall which has got many pillars, mandapamu. So inside, like the structure, you come across some sort of sculpture. Then how about structural temples? Yes, in structural temples you come across distinctive styles. And one more thing you shall keep in mind, the fundamental difference between rock cut cave temples and structural temples. Rock cut cave temples lo ఈ sculptors ఎవరైతే ఉంటారో like they start their journey from the top. They come from the top through chiseling process. Then how about structural temples? In structural temples lo the sculptors go from the bottom. Difference. Best example, Kailasanatha temple located at Kanchi, structural temple. Kailasanatha temple located at Patrakal, once again structural temple. Kailasanatha temple located at Ellora, rock cut cave temple. Rock cut cave temple lo you come across from the top to bottom. Structural temples lo from bottom to right. So Guptans were the earliest rulers to build temples and whose temples are being survived even today. As far as temples are concerned, now keeping aside rock cut cave temples, come to structural temples. Only in structural temples you come across the three distinctive styles. You call it Panchayatana style, Nagara style, Shikara style, Vesara style in Deccan, Dravidian style in South India. One of the famous areas for prelims exam, that is temples, temple architecture. Now keeping aside this temple architecture, now come to temples. అసలు భారతదేశంలో మొట్టమొదటిసారిగా దేవాలయాన్ని ఎవరు నిర్మించారు? Who built temples in India for the first time? Can anyone? కొంచెం గట్టిగానా? I'm not talking about rock cut cave temples, I'm talking about structural temples. Rock cut cave temples and no second third Guptans. Rock cut cave temples. I'm talking about who, like which dynasty are like earliest temples in India built by. Can anyone? కొంచెం గట్టిగా చెప్పండి. It's an Ikshwaku. Ikshwaku rulers or Ikshwakus were the earliest rulers in India to build temples. మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేశాం. After the decline of Shatavahanas, Shatavahana territory is broadly divided into three parts. Telugu speaking territories Ikshwakus, Kannada speaking territories Chotu Shatavahanas, and Marathi speaking territories Abhirams. Now come to Ikshwakus, the Telugu speaking dynasty. Ikshwaku rulers were the earliest to build temples. But whatever the temples built by Ikshwakus are not being survived today. They got disappeared and they got destroyed for various reasons. మీకెలా తెలుసు అక్కడ టెంపుల్స్ ఉన్నాయని? Because we found inscriptions, we also found literary evidences. So we found they were the earliest people to build temples. Now the earliest temples built by Guptans, and these temples are being survived. We found two questions. The earliest temples built in India, Ikshwakus, and whose temples are not being survived. Keep aside. The earliest surviving temples in India built by Guptans. In which style? Nagara style, or Panchayatan style, or Shikara style. That's it. Right? Now with this background, we have so many structural temples, at least at least half a dozen structural temples built by Guptans. One of the famous temples happened to be, that is what do we call the Shavatar temple. The Shavatar temple, right? అంటే మనకు at the beginning you don't look at అసలు ఇక్కడ గర్భగుడి మీద ఈ కట్టడం ఏడుంది, లైక్ మల్టీ పిల్లర్డ్ హాల్, ఇవన్నీ లేవు. మనం లాస్ట్ క్లాస్లో రిఫర్ చేసాం. ఒక డినాసిటీ టెంపుల్స్ని పెడుతుంది, సబ్సిక్వెంట్ డినాసిటీస్ ఏదైతున్నాయో వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారు, ఫీచర్స్ని యాడ్ చేస్తారు. పంచాయతన్ స్టైల్ ఆర్ నగరా స్టైల్ ఆర్ శిఖరా స్టైల్ ఇంట్రడ్యూస్డ్ బై గుప్తన్స్ అండ్ ఫర్దర్ డెవలప్డ్ బై రాజ్పూట్స్ అంటారు. Out of 3 temple styles, that is Nagara, Shikhara, Nagara, Vesara and Dravida, we found differences between Nagara temples and Dravidian temples. Then how about Vesara? Vesara is a combination of both Nagara and Dravida, mixture of both these styles. Though Vesara temples mixture of both the styles, but they tilted towards Nagara. Observe cheyali. For example, this is the Vimana of Nagara, this is the Vimana of Dravida. Now keeping aside Vimana of Vesara, what is this Vimana? Vimana का मतलब क्या होता है? అదే సార్ విమానం పైన పోతుంది, ఇవే విమానము. నువ్వు ఎంత గట్టిగా అడిగినా ఏం రాలేదు సార్, కొంచెం గట్టి ఉన్నా. టాప్ పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ టెంపుల్. దెన్ హౌ అబౌట్ గోపురం? వెరీ గుడ్, చెప్పాను. ఓకే, గర్భగృహ మీద ఉన్న కట్టడం. Right, good. Now for friends he says that is like Vimana is nothing but, or Shikhar, both are same. Vimana manam Dravidian temples lo Vimana antam, North Indian temples lo Shikhar antam. So enti Vimana leda Shikhara annappudu structure built on Garbhagriha or sanctum and sanctorum. This is how Vimana looks like in Nagara temple. This is how Vimana looks like in Dravidian temple. Semi pyramidal structure. చదవండి. ఇప్పటివరకు వెళ్ళంటారు కదా టెంపుల్స్, ఇప్పటి నుంచి కనీసం అబ్జర్వ్ చేయండి. ప్రసాదం కోసం 2-3 సార్లు ఓకే, బామర్ది పేకాటే తెలుస్తుంది, కనీసం అబ్జర్వ్ చేయండి. ఇది ఏ టెంపుల్, ఎందుకు వచ్చాము, ఉట్టిగా తిరగకండి. ఆ టికెట్ అక్కడ పెట్టి చూసుకొని ఇలా తిరుగుతూనే ఉంటాడు ఇక, రైట్. చలో, సో నగరా స్టైల్, ద్రవిడ స్టైల్ అండ్ వెసారా స్టైల్. Now come to structural temples built by Guptans. At least we found for about half a dozen important temples. Now come to the Nagara, the Dravida and the Vesara are the 3 main racial groups of the Indian subcontinent, the 3 main linguistic divisions into which the languages of India can be classified, the 3 main styles of Indian temple architecture, the 3 main musical gharanas prevalent in India. What is the right answer? Chala, very good. Right? There are only 2 known examples of cave paintings of the Guptan period in ancient India. One of these is paintings of Ajanta caves. And where is the other surviving example of Guptan paintings? Chapter మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేశాం, Bagh caves. So the Guptan paintings located at Bagh caves, Ajanta caves, Ellora caves and Sugriva caves. Look at the board. Loma Srishi belonged to Mauryan period. Ellora belonged to post-Guptan age, especially Kailasanatha Rocket Cave Temple, and Nasi caves belonged to Shatavahana. ఇలా కూడా ఆన్సర్ చేయొచ్చు, ఎలిమినేషన్ చేయొచ్చు. ఆబ్వియస్లీ వీటన్నిటి మీద ఐడియా ఉండాలి, లేకపోతే మనల్ని ఎలిమినేట్ చేస్తారు. అసలే 1/3 సమజ్దార్ కిషరా కాఫియా, రైట్. Now it's all about Guptans. Now come to post-Guptan age. As far as post-Guptan age is concerned, I need to tell you once again, Indian subcontinent experienced political disunity, because we found half a dozen dynasties in the respective. Look at the board. Pushyabhutis, Maukaris and Maitrakas. Pushyabhutis, Maukaris and Maitrakas, Kamarupa and Gaudas, Eastern India, Badami Chalukyas, Deccan and Pallavas of Kanchi, South India. We found constant conflicts. That's the aroma of regional kingdoms, right? Pushyabhutis of North India. They were ruling over modern Haryana, whose capital was Sthaneshwar. Ancient Kurukshetra, medieval Sthaneshwar, modern Haryana. Then how about Maukharis? Maukharis were ruling over Kannauj, UP, Uttar Pradesh. Maitrakas were ruling over Vallabhi, Gujarat. Now we have Gaudas, Bengal, and Kamarupa, Assam, Chalukyas of Badami, Deccan, and Pallavas of Kanchi, South India. And we found constant conflicts. Between whom? Especially Chalukyas of Deccan and Pallavas of Kanchi. What is the source of conflict? KG Basin. ఎక్కువ time spend చేయకూడదు. Geopolitical conflicts, which we have learnt as part of Shaka Shatavahana conflicts. ఇక్కడ geopolitical conflicts, KG Basin. మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ నార్త్ ఇండియాలో కనౌజ్ బేసిన్, దట్ ఈస్ గంగా యమున బేసిన్. కనౌజ్, గంగా యమున టెరిటరీస్, ఫర్టైల్ ల్యాండ్స్లో మనం కనౌజ్ బేసిన్ ఉంటుంది. పుష్యభూతీస్ వర్సెస్ ఈస్టర్న్ ఇండియా. మళ్ళీ ఈ ప్రాసెస్లో భాగంగా పుష్యభూతీస్ అండ్ మౌఖరీస్ got united. We also found matrimonial relations. So Pushyabhutis, Maukharis versus Gaudas and Kamarupa, wherein so Pushyabhutis and Maukharis got defeated, and over a period of time Pushyabhutis and Maukharis no combined ga చేసి పరిపాలించినటువంటి వ్యక్తి ఎవరు అంటే హర్షవర్ధన. రైట్. సో పోస్ట్ గుప్తా ఏజ్లో భాగంగా కొన్ని ఈ కీవర్డ్స్ రాసుకోండి. దెన్ విల్ గో ఫర్ ద కీవర్డ్స్ విచ్ ఆర్ అసోసియేటెడ్ విత్ పోస్ట్ గుప్తా ఏజ్. అన్నీ కూడా కల్చరల్కి సంబంధించి ఉంటాయి. సో హర్ష చరిత, who authored? Bana Bhatt. In which language? Sanskrit language. Even Bana Bhatt, the court historian of Harshavardhana, also wrote kavyas and natakas. Focus. What are the kavyas? A list of kavyas, 3, and natakas, list of Sanskrit dramas. Harsha Charita, Huan San, the Chinese Buddhist traveler. Nalanda University, followed by Mahamoksha Parishad. Sub-infeudation or consolidation of feudalism. Feudalism born and brought up in Guptan period. By the time you go to post-Guptan age, it got consolidated. The same stuff which we have as part of post-modern age. Revival of Brahmanical institutions. By the time you go to Guptans, it got consolidated. Garbhanataka. And finally, geopolitical conflict. So we found geopolitical conflicts, that is Eastern India, Kamarupa kingdom, Gauda kingdom versus Pushyabhutis, Maukharis, keeping aside Maitrakas of Vallabhi. So confederation versus confederation. As I was telling, Pushyabhuti confederation got defeated by Gauda confederation. According to Harsha Charita, under deplorable conditions, Harshavardhana came to the throne and he gave blows to Kamarupa rulers and Gauda rulers. And the same gentleman brought situation under control. The same gentleman, combinedly ruled Pushyabhuti territories and Maukhari territories with a capital called Kannauj. In fact, the gentleman Bana Bhatt, author of Harsha Charita, since he happened to be court historian of Harshavardhana, he did not tell the so-called other side of Harshavardhana, just he praised his own victories and all, right? So whatever the circumstances, when we understand the cultural contributions of Harshavardhana, no doubt of all existing rulers of post-Guptan age, to be specific North India, the greatest ruler happened to be Harshavardhana. The master of North India ruled from 606 to 647. Harshavardhana himself was a great scholar, patronized many scholars. You call him scholarly king. He wrote 3 famous Sanskrit dramas. If possible, can anyone? Nagananda, Priya, Darshi, and Ratnavali. Sanskrit dramas. Ratnavali, Ratnagarbha, Ratnadadhi, and Ratnaranjaka. So now the previous questions of UPSC General Studies Prelims, hard one out. మీతో వచ్చిన ప్రాబ్లం అదే సార్, ఆల్రెడీ ఆన్సర్ చెప్పేవారు. వాట్ ద రైట్ ఆన్సర్? There are 4 options: Ratnavali, Ratnagarbha, Ratnadadi, and Ratnaranjaka. Ratna is common. What's the right answer? కొంచెం కామన్ సెన్స్ యూజ్ చేయరా? డోంట్ సే రత్న. ఆడ్ వన్ అవుట్. రత్నావళి. వై రత్నావళి అంటే వైట్ కలర్లో రాశావు సార్. ఓకే, రావాలి రావాలంటే కండక్టర్ పని ఇవే తగ్గించుకోమని చెప్పాను. కండక్టర్ కాదేం కాదు. అంటే ఆన్సర్ చెప్తాం సార్, నువ్వు మళ్ళీ వై అని అడుగు. ఓకే, అడగండి. చెప్పండి. కొంచెం గట్టినా నేను పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ చెప్తా, ఆన్సర్ మాత్రం చెప్పు. అవుట్ ఆఫ్ 4 ఆప్షన్స్, రత్నావళి, రత్నగర్భ, రత్నదాది అండ్ రత్నరంజక. వాట్స్ ద ఆన్సర్? ఆడ్ వన్ అవుట్. కొంచెం గట్టినా. ఓకే, రత్నగర్భ. ఓకే, నువ్వు కూడా మాత్రమే నిలబడతావు అప్పుడప్పుడు. ఓకే, अब कुछ कहना है? आप सिर्फ आंसर बताइए. ओके, 1/3 बज गए आपके. అమలకలో వెనకలో కూర్చొని బీజం కొడుతున్నారు. రైట్ ఆన్సర్ ఈజ్ రత్నావళి. రీజన్ బీయింగ్, Ratnavali, one of the Sanskrit dramas written by Harshavardhana. Then how about remaining 3? ఏమైనా నీకెందుకు సార్, ఆన్సర్ వచ్చింది కదా. Then how about remaining 3? The remaining 3 happen to be the libraries of Nalanda University. अदिदा कुछ पाने के लिए नाट कुछ होता है, बहुत कुछ खोना पड़ता है. Don't say Ratna is common. నీ క్వశ్చన్ అడగడానికి రాలేదు. Ratnavali, Ratnagarbha, Ratnadadi, Ratnaranjaka. The remaining happen to be the libraries of Nalanda University. And Ratnavali, one of the Sanskrit dramas written by Harshavardhana. As I was telling, dramas, kavyas. ఇక్కడ డ్రామా లైబ్రరీస్. కొంతమంది చాలా ఈజీగా ఉంది క్వశ్చన్ పేపరు, మా అదృష్టం ఇంత ఈజీ ఎప్పుడు రాలేదు. అదృష్టమే, నెంబర్ ఉండదు. జనరల్ చెప్తున్నా. ఓకే, నా కమ్ టు స్కాలర్స్. హీ patronized many scholars. One among them was Bana Bhatt. The gentleman wrote same dramas and kavyas and Bhartruhari, నీతి శతక, వైరాగ్య శతక, ఇవన్నీ శతకాస్ ఉంటాయి. ఒకసారి చూసుకో. కమ్ టు కాంట్రిబ్యూషన్స్ టు కల్చర్. Harshavardhana organized Mahamoksha Parishad. Can you know what is this Mahamoksha Parishad? One of the famous areas for prelims exam. He started donating to the people. Okay. Why did Chipton? Including what? Okay, good. Why? What for? Welfare of the people. Welfare of the people అంటే ఫ్రీ బస్ పెట్టాలి. సార్ 2 రోజుల నుంచి చూస్తున్నాము, నీకు ఎందుకు సార్ ఫ్రీ బస్ అంటే ఏదో అభిమానం ఉన్నాడు. అభిమానం కాదు, లొట్ట పీస్ కాదు సార్, నీకు ఇవ్వలేదని బాధ. కైండ్ ఆఫ్ అటైన్ ద మోక్ష. గుడ్. మహామోక్ష పరిషత్, వెరీ టైటిల్ సెల్ఫ్ ఇండికేట్స్. చలో గుడ్ అన్. ఇంకేమైనా ఉన్నారా? ఆర్టికల్ 19 నువ్వు ఎంత చించుకున్నా కూడా ఏం రాదు సార్. చలో గుడ్. సో ఇక్కడ మహామోక్ష పరిషత్, మోక్ష అన్నప్పుడు జనరల్గా లైక్ నో వి జనరలీ అసోసియేట్ విత్ హిందూయిజం, అండ్ నో డౌట్ హర్షవర్ధన వాజ్ ఎ హిందూ రూలర్. And we have two branches in Hinduism, Shaivism and Vaishnavism. Now come to Harshavardhana was a Shaivite Hindu. And the respective book says, and almost all religion says, or religious scripture says, when you donate wealth at sacred places, you'll be going to get virtues. Punyam labhistadi. Punyam ekkuvaithe leads to salvation, moksha. So in order to attain salvation or moksha, Harshavardhana organized such kind of parishads or philanthropic activities for about 6 events organized చేశారు అంటారు. 5 into 6. Once in a 5 years he used to organize this particular event. He organized such kind of events. The 6th event కు ఎవరు హెడ్ అన్నప్పుడు Chinese Buddhist traveler by name Huyan San. మళ్ళీ ఏంటి philanthropic activities? He used to donate entire wealth, whatever the wealth he might have accumulated for about 5 years. So he used to donate entire wealth at Prayaga. Now the next question, why did he select Prayaga as a venue instead of his own capital, that is Kanauj? What is the significance of Prayaga then? కొంచెం గట్టిగా. సంగమం, త్రివేణి సంగమం. అమ్మో పెద్ద పెద్ద పదాలు చెప్తున్నారు. గంగా, యమున, మిథికల్ సరస్వతి. ఏంటి సరస్వతి పిడేడుంది, ఆప్సారి గొనిలో అలిగిపోయింది. నోట చెప్పమాకు సార్. వన్స్ రివర్ సరస్వతి, టుడే థర్డ్ డెజర్ట్. కన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ అంటే మనకు అన్ని మతాలు ఎస్పెషలీ హైందవంలో కన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ ఆఫ్ రివర్స్, సంగమము, కృష్ణా తుంగభద్ర, రైట్, గంగా యమున, sacred places. That is the reason like he selected Prayaga. Apply the same towards महाकुंभ मेला वहीं पे होता है, नाट हुसैन सागर में होता है. हाँ चलो. So Prayaga. So he was a Shaivite. Now keeping aside Mahamoksha Parishad, now come to religious assembly held at Kanauj religious assembly. And let me tell you, there are 2 rulers in the history of India. One among them was Harshavardhana in ancient India, and medieval India Akbar. So they determined to know the summaries of the respective religions, the gist of the respective religions. Ancient India lo Harshavardhana, medieval lo Akbar. They wanted to know the summary, what exactly the summary of the respective religions. So in order to understand the gist of the respective religions, like when they invited the monks of various faiths, maybe Jainism, maybe Buddhism, maybe Hinduism, whatever the respective religions at this point of time. Now these gentlemen, Harshavardhana organized religious assembly at Kanauj under the guidance of Huyan San. On the behalf of Buddhism, the sources tell us Huyan San participated in Kanauj religious assembly. And what is the outcome of Kanauj religious assembly? The sources tell us Harshavardhana understood the summary of all religions, and he found the best and peaceful religion happened to be, egalitarian religion happened to be Buddhism. And he got converted to Buddhism with the help of Divakara Mitra. మనం మార్నింగ్ కూడా రెఫర్ చేశాం. Ashoka got converted to Buddhism with the help of Upagupta. Kanishka got converted to Buddhism with the help of Ashwaghosha. And now Harshavardhana also got converted to Buddhism with the help of Divakara Mitra, the famous Buddhist monk at this point. Though Harshavardhana was a Hindu at the beginning, but in later on he got converted to Buddhism. Right? It's all about. Now come to Badami Chalukyas. Post-Gupta Age, Deccan was ruled by a famous dynasty called Badami Chalukyas. So Chalukyas have got 2 capitals. Chalukyas have got 2 capitals. The first capital or administrative capital happened to be Badami, and cultural capital happened to be Pattadakal. What is the cultural capital of Guptans? ఉజ్జయిన్. అంటే మీరు కల్చరల్ క్యాపిటల్ అనే ఒక జగ చదువుతున్నప్పుడు వేరే దాన్ని రీకలెక్ట్ చేసుకోవాలి, గుర్తుంటుంది, రైట్? హ్యావ్ ద హ్యాబిట్, రైట్? సో పట్టడాకల్. When it comes to Chalukyas, who are Chalukyas? అన్నప్పుడు Chalukyas were the feudatories of Guptans, having understood the weakness of Guptans, and even little later they also became the feudatories of Vakatakas, which were ruling over Deccan. Now gradually we found PK Pulakesh II as an independent ruler, very traditional lines, followed by Kirti Varman the first, followed by PK Pulakesh II, followed by Vikramaditya the first, followed by Vijayaditya the first, followed by Vikramaditya the second, and finally Kirti Varman the second, the last ruler of Chalukya dynasty. So every kalamlo independent కావడం జరిగింది, under whose guidance the kingdom reached to the heights. And last ruler, right? Only 3 rulers, ఎక్కువగా ఫోకస్ చేయకండి. Now come to Pulakesh II ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి. Pulakesh II ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో, the master of Badami territories, so the gentleman initiated geopolitical conflicts with Pallavas of Kanchi, at least for about, I would say, 2 centuries, dadapu almost 200 years, we found ugly conflicts, geopolitical conflicts between Badami Chalukyas and Pallavas. What is the source of conflict? What is the source of conflict? KG Basin, Krishna Godavari Basin. When Chalukyas ruling over Deccan, then how about South India? Right? How about South India? South India was ruling by Pallavas, and they also had got 2 capitals. What were they? Kanchipuram, administrative capital. Abhiram, Mahabalipuram, cultural capital. Ikkada Badami, Pattadakal. So here, how we have Pulakesh in the first, here we have Simha Vishnu, followed by Mahendra Varman the first, followed by Narasimha Varman the first, followed by Mahendra Varman the second, followed by Narasimha Varman the second, and it went on, and finally Aparajita Varman. That's it. Aparajita Varman, the last ruler. Chala easy na. You suppose not to look after all the rulers. Founder, great ruler, last ruler. Great ruler దగ్గర కొంచెం టైం, maybe titles, 1 or 2, maybe 1 or 2 battles, maybe 1 or 2 contributions, maybe scholars కావచ్చు, art forms కావచ్చు, architecture కావచ్చు, religion కావచ్చు. Don't spend much time on political history. Focus must be on social institutions, economic and cultural institutions. As I was telling, Pulakesh II defeated and killed Mahendra Varman the first as part of geopolitical conflicts. At least a 3 to 4 main battles మీరు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవడం ప్రయత్నించండి. There's a battle called Battle of Pullaluru around 618 or 619. So wherein the battle fought between Badami forces and Pallavan forces. Badami forces headed by PK Pulakesh II and Pallavan forces headed by Mahendra Varman I. Outcome, Mahendra Varman I defeated and got killed. What is the response of Pulakesh II? He plundered Kanchi. He also plundered the temple. Everywhere you come across this. The same Pulakesh II also defeated North Indian ruler by name Harshavardhana. ఈ ఎపిసోడ్ గురించి హర్షవర్ధన్ యొక్క స్కాలర్ ఒక్కడు కూడా చెప్పాడు అనమాట. ఆబ్వియస్లీ చెప్పారు. ఎందుకు చెప్తారు? సాక్షి న్యూస్ పేపర్ రెడీ గారు చెప్తారు, ఈనాడు న్యూస్ చెప్తారు, చెప్పారు అంత బాగుందని చెప్తారు, వెలిగిపోతుందని చెప్తారు. ఎవ్రీవరీ కమెంట్ త్రూఅవుట్ హిస్టరీ. సో ఇక్కడ హర్షవర్ధన వర్సెస్ Pulakesh II, there was a battle called Battle of Narmada. కట్ చేస్తే the Battle of Narmada where Harshavardhana got defeated. That's it. This particular episode which we have learned from an inscription which was written by can anyone? Ravi Kirti. What's the name of the inscription? Aihole or Aihole inscription. What is Nasik Prashasti for GPS? Gautamipura Shatakarni. Aihole Prashasti for PK Pulakesh II. Political victory. That's it. Now come to After the death of Mahendra Varman the first, his son Narasimha Varman the first came to the throne. Narasimha Varman the first came to the throne. So Narasimha Varman the first determined to get back KG Basin. Outcome, he expelled Badami governors from Krishna Godavari territories and he got back. The entire information got known by PK. He invaded Kanchi. And we found a fierce battle between Narasimha Varman the first forces and PK the second, Pulakeshin second, at a place called Mani Mangalam. Battle of Mani Mangalam, 642 AD. Battle of Mani Mangalam fought in the year 642 AD between Badami forces and Pallavan forces. Badami forces headed by Pulakeshin II and Pallavan forces headed by Narasimha Varman I. Outcome, Badami forces were defeated. The entire information got to by PK, Pulakeshin II. The gentleman ran away from battlefield. The sources tell us, having got to know, the departure of Pulakeshin II, Narasimha Varman I also chased Pulakeshin II up to Vatapi or Badami, where he was beheaded. Having beheaded, he plundered Badami, tit for tat. He plundered Badami, plundered temples, and assumed the title called what Konda? It's in Vatapi Kondan. This is first Konda. We have few more Kondas in subsequent sessions. Vatapi Kondan. The English version of Sanskrit title, Conqueror of Vatapi. That's it. Right? So after the death of Pulakeshin II, we found at least a decade enough, Badami territories fell in silence because Pulakeshin II's son happened to be the minor. When Vikramaditya the first, became the ruler. Now, ikkada Pallavan territories lo Narasimha Varman the first passed away, natural death. Having understood the death of Narasimha Varman I, what is the response of Vikramaditya I? He invaded Kanchi, defeated Mahendra Varman II, and assassinated. Right? Revenge. Factionism, you call it. It went on. If someone asks the question, what is the outcome of all these battles, all these the revenge politics? Very simple. On one hand, Badami Chalukyas, on the other hand, Pallavas, both got exhausted. That's the aroma of battle. That's the aroma of war. Exhausted. Resources, men and material. Men, soldiers, material, natural resources. When they got exhausted, they became weak. Having understood the weakness of these rulers, the new dynasties rose to the power. How? Badami Chalukyan dynasty was replaced by Rashtrakutas. Ekkada? Deccan lo. Now when it comes to South India, Pallavan dynasty was replaced by Cholas. That's the aroma of battle. Throughout history, it went on. And the last ruler of Badami Chalukyan territories, that is Kirti Varman II, was killed by his own feudatory named Danti Durga. This is how Badami Chalukyan dynasty was replaced by Rashtrakutas. Now come to temple architecture. మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేసాం రాక్ కట్ కేవ్ టెంపుల్స్ అండ్ స్ట్రక్చరల్ టెంపుల్స్, కట్ కాపీ అండ్ పేస్ట్. When it comes to rock cut cave temples of Badami, rock cut cave temples of Badami, look at the board. At Badami we found 4 rock cut caves. At Badami we found 4 rock cut caves. So ఈ 4 rock cut caves లో భాగంగా cave number 1 belonged to Shaivism, cave number 2 and 3 belonged to Vaishnavism, and cave number 4 belonged to Jainism. That's it. Chala easy. Rock cut cave temples, taking a hillock, giving a form of a structure. If inside you come across some sort of sculpture, for our convenience we started calling it as a temple. Mali sculpture ante ఈ స్ట్రక్చర్ లో హిందూ స్కల్ప్చర్ ఉంటే టెంపుల్, జైన్ స్కల్ప్చర్ ఉంటే బసది, బుద్ధిస్ట్ స్కల్ప్చర్ ఉంటే చైత్య. So cave number 1, Nataraja sculpture, one of the forms of Lord Shiva, Nataraja sculpture. Cave number 1 dedicated to Shaivism. Cave number 2 and 3 Vaishnavism. Cave number 4 Jainism. Now come to structural temples. Well, structural temples we have learned North India Panchayatan style or Nagara or Shikara. Now Deccan Vesara style or Deccan style or Chalukyan style. Vesara style is a mixture of North Indian style and South Indian style, but tilted towards North Indian style. What is the cultural capital of Chalukyas? Cultural capital of Chalukyas? Pattadakal. Pattadakal, where we found at least a dozen temples. The significance of Pattadakal, we found 3 temple styles at one place. We can come across Nagara style, Dravidian style and Vesara style. That's the significance of Pattadakal. కేవలం రెండు ప్రాంతాల్లో 3 టెంపుల్ స్టైల్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఒకటి పట్టడాకల్, ఇంకొకటి కొంచెం గట్టిగా అలంపూర్, which comes in Jogulamba, Gadwal district of Telangana state. I repeat, 3 temple styles located at only 2 places: Pattadakal, Bhagalkot district of Karnataka state, and Alampur, Jogulamba, Gadwal district of Telangana state. 3 temple styles. Now come to Pallavas of Kanchi. మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేశాం. సింహ విష్ణు మహేంద్రవర్మన్ ది ఫస్ట్, నరసింహవర్మన్ ది ఫస్ట్, మహేంద్రవర్మన్ ది సెకండ్, నరసింహవర్మన్ ది సెకండ్, అపరాజిత వర్మన్. Right? So Simha Vishnu was a feudatory of Guptan Santa. Mahendravarman the first independent rule start చేయడం జరిగింది. Narasimhavarman the first got command over KG Basin for at least say a decade and half, and after that of Narasimhavarman the first we found the same Pallavan rulers received various blows from Chalukyas. The last ruler of Pallavan dynasty by name Aparajita Varman got killed by his own feudatory by name Aditya Cholan. This is how Pallavan territory was replaced by Chola. Now come to the Pallavan political history మీద పక్కన పెట్టినట్లయితే we found questions on cultural events and cultural history. So the official language of Pallavas, no second thought, what? Sanskrit. Now besides Sanskrit, the same Pallavas patronized Tamil. దాన్ని మనము అంటే మనకు సంస్కృతంలో two famous scholars lived at Kanchi antam. One among them was Dandi or Dandi Mahakavi, and another scholar Bharavi. That's it. Only 2 scholars, 2 Sanskrit scholars. Dandi, the author of Dashakumara Charita. Besides Dashakumara Charita, he also wrote a book called Avanti Sundari Katha. Then how about Bharavi? Bharavi wrote Kiratarjuniyam, the conflicts between Krishna and Arjuna. Kiratarjuniyam. Cheptana? Even ఆయన కూడా వస్తాడు. ఫైనల్గా ఆయన వస్తాడు కదా. Kiratarjuniyam. So Bharavi and Dandi. Now come to Tamil devotional movement. Tamil devotional movement, it was taken up by Nayanars and Alvars. Who are Nayanars? The Shaiva teachers, not followers of Lord Shiva. Nayanars, the Shaiva teachers. Alvars, the Vaishnava teachers. Vaishnava teachers. For a period of time, even followers are also given the Nayanars and Alvars. But at the beginning, we have to say Nayanars, whose number was 63 Shaiva saints, and Alvars, whose number was 12. Dwadasha Alvarulu. Dwadasha Alvars. Well, ఏంటి Tamil devotional movement లేదా Tamil bhakti movement అంటాం? Against Sanskrit institutions. Who introduced Sanskrit institutions in South India? Agastya Mahamuni was popularly called as Vasco da Gama of South. What are the institutions? Social institutions, religious institutions, all discriminative institutions introduced by the gentleman. Against these discriminative institutions, we found movement from the Tamil Shaivites and Tamil Alvars, or Tamil Vaishnavites, that is Nayanars and Alvars. When we observe Tamil devotional movement, that is against social discrimination, against gender discrimination, against rituals and sacrifices, against the role of Brahmins in religion, against Sanskrit. It went on. One of the famous episodes we found in South Indian history, to be specific, Pallavan period lo Tamil devotional movement ikkada variki baane undi, right? How a coin has got two faces. Even Tamil devotional movement, our Nayanars and Alvars also have got two faces. So one face vachesi positive and another face vachesi negative. Mali one of the positive faces lo what was the sacred text compiled by 63 Nayanars? What are the sacred text composed by Alvars, 12 Alvars? Very good, Anna. Nalariya Divya Prabandham. Nalariya Divya Prabandham, the sacred text of Tamil Alvars. The sacred text of Tamil Nayanars, Thevaram. Thevaram. Whenever you happen to go to Tamil, what we call Tamil Nadu temples, even today, the verses of Thevaram and Nalariya Divya Prabandham be recited in the temples, not your Vedas and other Sanskrit literature. But the aroma of Tamil Nadu. But the bitter critics of Aryan institutions. Right? One political party struggling like anything to get a space in Tamil politics. ఆసాను దింపింది, ఈసాను దింపింది, ఆమెను దింపింది, ఈమెను దింపింది. ఎలాగైతే ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్లో టు రివైవ్ కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ ఒక అక్కను దింపారు, టు రివైవ్ కాంగ్రెస్ పార్టీ ఇన్ తెలంగాణ ఒక అన్నం దింపారు. సమజ్దార్ కిషారా కాఫీ, రైట్? ఇవన్నీ కూడా రివైవల్ అంటాం. తెలంగాణ ప్రాంతం గుంపు రెడీ గారు ఏం చేస్తుంది, చాలా చేస్తున్నాడు, చాలా మార్పు వచ్చింది. కొంతమందికి మాటలు చెప్తే కోపం వస్తుంది, ఎందుకంటే అభిమానులు ఉంటాయి కదా. ఓకే ఓకే రైట్, చలో, చాలా మార్పు వచ్చింది. ఇంతకుముందు తెలంగాణ స్టేట్ అన్నవాళ్ళు ఇప్పుడు తెలంగాణ అని చెప్తుంది. డోంట్ యూ థింక్ దిస్ ఈజ్ మార్పు? ఎస్, దిస్ ఈజ్ మార్పు. ఇంతకుముందు ధరణి అనేవాళ్ళు ఇప్పుడు భూమాత అంటున్నారు. ఇది పెద్ద మార్పు అన్నమాట. ఓకే, నాయనార్స్ అండ్ ఆల్వార్స్, థెవారం, నలరియా, దివ్య ప్రబంధం. మళ్ళీ ఏంటి నెగటివ్ ఎలిమెంట్ అన్నప్పుడు? The same Nayanars and Alvars were responsible for disharmony, hatredness, and ugly conflicts. They became greedy of what? Power. They started what we call creating hatredness. Unfortunately, we found ugly sectarian conflicts in South Indian Tamil Nadu. మళ్ళీ ఈ ద సేమ్ అగ్లీ కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్స్ మనకి ఎక్కడ సెలెస్టియల్ హైట్స్కి వెళ్ళాయి అన్నప్పుడు డ్యూరింగ్ ద రీన్ ఆఫ్ చోలాస్. అండ్ ఫ్యూ మైట్ హ్యావ్ వాచ్డ్ ఎ మూవీ కాల్డ్ దశావతారం, కమల్ హాసన్ మూవీ. ఇన్ ద ఫస్ట్ ఎపిసోడ్ ఉంటున్నాం ద అగ్లీ కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్స్ బిట్వీన్ Shaivites and Vaishnavites. Now, if someone asks the question, did we find these sectarian conflicts among the people, or did we find the sectarian conflicts among the upper strata అన్నప్పుడు we found the conflicts among the upper strata and they went to the lower strata. Fine. What is the response? What is an attitude of the rulers when they found ugly conflicts అన్నప్పుడు? Rulers, it's quite interesting, no? Except two rulers, at least out of 11 rulers, 2 rulers happen to be Vaishnavites. Remaining all rulers happen to be Shaivites. Well, let me tell you, rulers followed the toleration. That's the aroma of history. Rulers followed toleration. What kind of toleration? Religious toleration and sectarian toleration. Though maximum rulers belonged to Shaivism, they never encouraged Shaiva teachers, that is Nayanars, go and no. They made all efforts to what we call the decrease. They made all efforts to bring these two divergent communities under one umbrella. The question is what kind of efforts annappudu you come across that is temple architecture. The temple architecture lo bhanga few might be knowing that is seashore temple. Seashore temple, good. Seashore temple located at Mahabalipuram. What is the significance of seashore temple? Koncham gattiga na. What is the significance of seashore temple? Seashore temple has two garbhagrihas. One garbhagriha is dedicated to Lord Shiva, another garbhagriha dedicated to Lord Vishnu. What do we call? Dvikuta Alaya Sant. Adenti? Every temple has got only one garbhagriha. Yes. But we found a few temples where two garbhagrihas. Whenever you come across a temple which has got two garbhagrihas, you shall keep in mind akkada dabidi jarigindotchu. I mean, ugly conflicts, sectarian conflicts. To reduce these conflicts, rulers had come up with the fantastic idea. That's the greatness of these rulers. Whatever religion you belong to, whatever sect you belong to, when you're talking about a ruler, you must be broad-minded. We also found Trikuta. Besides Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva, we found Aditya. Trikuta Alaya. Anyone from Warangal? Thousand Pillar Temple, Hanmakonda. Trikuta Alaya. ద్వికూట అంటేనే దబిడి దిబిడి అని చెప్పావు. ఎస్, త్రికూట అంటే దబిడి దిబిడి స్క్వైర్, కొంచెం ఇంకా అగ్లీ అనమాట. ఇక్కడికన్నా ఆపుతావా నీ సోదరు? ఇంకా ఉంది పంచకూట. లార్డ్ విష్ణు, లార్డ్ శివ, లార్డ్ ఆదిత్య, లార్డ్ గణేష అండ్ గాడెస్ లక్ష్మి. జెండర్ ఈక్వాలిటీ. Trikuta Alayas and Panchakuta Alayas we found in Kakatiya period. Right? So whenever you come across Trikuta Alayas, you shall keep in mind, okay, because of ugly sectarian conflicts, the rulers might have taken efforts to reduce it. So this is one of the what we call ugly consequences of Tamil devotional movement. Though Sanskrit was an official language, rulers, Pallavan rulers also patronized Tamil. And finally, temple architecture. Same rocket cave temples and structural temples. We found both rocket cave temples and structural temples, especially early rulers everything. We have Mahendra Varman the first, Narasimha Varman the first, Mahendra Varman the second. These rulers were associated with rocket cave temples. By the time you go to Narasimha Varman the second, followed by Nandi Varman the second. So these rulers were associated with structural temples. So now come to rocket cave temples. Rocket cave temples, like we found questions besides UPSC, even APPSC, TGPSC questions were there. Dakshina Bharata Deshamlo, like in South India, Pallavans were the earliest rulers to build rocket cave temples. In India, Guptans were the earliest rulers to build rocket cave temples. Indian context lo Guptans, South Indian context lo Pallavans. Observe cheyali. అసలు అంటే డోంట్ టేక్ ఇట్ ఫర్ గ్రాంటెడ్. టెంపుల్ అంటే నగరా స్టైల్ మాదిరి ఉండాలి, లైక్ వెసారా స్టైల్ మాదిరి ఉండాలి, ద్రవిడియన్ స్టైల్. నో, దిస్ ఆర్ ది రాకెట్ కేవ్ టెంపుల్స్. ఒక చిన్న బౌల్డర్ ఉంటుంది, దానికి ఒక త్రూ చిజలింగ్ ప్రాసెస్లో ఒక స్ట్రక్చర్ ఇస్తారు. వీటిని యాక్చువల్ మనము మంటపాస్ అనాలి. మండపము, అ హాల్ విచ్ హ్యాస్ గాట్ పిల్లర్స్. లోపల మనకు ఒక స్కల్ప్చర్ ఉంటుంది, ఒక విగ్రహం ఉంటుంది. ఓకే, rocket cave temple. Okay, Shiva rocket cave temple, Vishnu rocket cave temple. So inside the sculpture, మొత్తం కూడా సింగిల్ స్టోన్, మోనోలిథిక్. The same Pallavas were associated with say rock art cave temples in Andhra Desha, especially Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh. Chala mandiki idea undochu Undavalli caves. The significance of Undavalli caves, we found 4 floors there. ఒక ఫ్లోర్ను తవ్వడమే సినిమా కనిపిస్తుంది అన్నమాట. జస్ట్ ఇమాజిన్ 4 floors, and these caves popularly called as Vaishnava caves. So when you go to the second what we call third floor lo, from the మన bottom third floor, from the top second floor lo మనకి ఇక్కడ very big sculpture of Lord Vishnu, that is Lord Vishnu in reclining position. అందుకని మనం ఈ కేవ్స్ ఏమంటామంటే వైష్ణవ కేవ్స్ అంటాం, ఉండవల్లి కేవ్స్. The other rock cut caves located at Mahabalipuram, dug up by Narasimhavarman I, otherwise called as Narasimhavarman I, have the titles. One of the titles happened to be Mahamalla or Mamalla. The same gentleman built a city. The city is named after his title, Mahamallapuram or Mahabalipuram or Mamallapuram. All are same. At least ఒక డజన్ రాక్ కట్ కేవ్స్ ని ఇక్కడ ఈయన ఎక్స్కవేట్ చేశాడు అంట. కొంచెం మీరు అబ్జర్వ్ చేసినట్లయితే we found technological advancement compared with previous rock cut cave temples, right? Previous rock cut cave temples lo very plain temples. So Mahendra style, Mahendravarman I. Now come to Narasimhavarman I, whose economy was prosperous because the gentleman got command over KG Basin for about a decade. Economic prosperity. Taking a big boulder, even a boulder nu kuda they have shown all sorts of sculptures. These are the Vimana. Artham cheskovali. Vimana of structural temple. గర్భగుడి మీద ఉన్న కట్టడాన్ని మనం విమానం అంటాం. Arjuna's penance, Ganga Avatarana, the sculpture of Ganga Avatarana. Now come to structural temples. North Indian structural temples built in Panchayatan style or Shikhara or Nagara. When it comes to Deccan, Vesara. Now come to South India, Dravida. Mali Dravidian style ఎవరు ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేశారు అన్నప్పుడు పల్లవన్ డినాసిటీ, నేమ్ ఆఫ్ ది డినాసిటీ. రూలర్ వచ్చేసి Narasimhavarman II, otherwise called as Rajasimha. Narasimhavarman II had at least half a dozen titles. One of the titles happened to be Rajasimha. So it was the same gentleman who was responsible for introducing Dravidian style in India. He built so many temples. One of the famous temples happened to be Kailasanatha temple located at Kanchi. Kailasanatha temple located at Kanchi. As far as Kailasanatha temple located at Kanchi is concerned, chinna time spend cheyali. Kailasanatha temple located at Kanchi, built by Narasimhavarman II in Dravidian style. That's it. The same temple of Kanchi or Pallavas was copied and built at Pattadakal by Vikramaditya, Chalukyan ruler, Badami Chalukyan ruler. As part of geopolitical conflicts, right? After the death of Badami, Pulakesh II, we found for about decade and half Chalukyas maintained silence, and over a period of time, as soon as they got to know they were weak rulers in Pallavan territories, they started attacking Pallavan territories. One of the rulers by name Vikramaditya II, so he invaded Kanchi thrice and plundered Kanchi temples, and while he was returning to Chalukyan territories, he witnessed the beautiful temple. And he ordered his men, that is soldiers, go and get all the sculptors. His men brought the sculptors. All these sculptors were taken to Badami, and they were instructed to build the same temple at Patna. So, Kailasanatha temple located at Patradakal, it's a replica of Kanchi temple. Cut, copy and paste. మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేసాం the significance of Patradakal, where we found three styles: Nagara, Vesara, Dravida. This is Dravida temple, because copied from Pallavan temple. Badami Chalukyan territories were replaced by, or Badami Chalukyan dynasty was replaced by Rashtrakutas. Rashtrakutas built the same Kailasanatha temple, same replica, not in structural category, but in rock cut cave category. Kailasanatha temple located at Kanchi, Kailasanatha temple located at Patradakal, Kailasanatha temple located at Ellora. The three temples were built in only one style. What's the name of this style? Dravidian style. Now, Kailasanatha temple located at Kanchi, Kailasanatha temple located at Patradakal belonged to structural category. Structural temples. Nirmiti Devalayalu antam. Then how about Kailasanatha temple located at Ellora belonged to rock cut cave temple category. That's it. So seashore temple. The significance of seashore temple, it has got two Garbhagrihas, two sanctum and sanctorum, and one more beautiful temple belonged to structural category, that is Vaikuntha Perumal temple or Vishnu temple. In fact, it is we found in this temple two lizard concept. మనం తెలుగులో ఏమంటాం అంటే బంగారు బల్లి అంటాం, right? Two lizards. Vaikuntha Perumal temple. So from the decline of Guptans until the rise of Harshavardhana in the early 7th century, which of the following kingdoms were holding power in North India? So when you're good at political history, you can answer such kind of questions. Right? The Guptas of Magadha, Paramaras of Malwa, the Pushabhutis of Sthaneshwar, Yadavas of Devagiri. The question is, from the decline of the Guptas until the rise of Harshavardhana. Decline of Guptas, rise of Harshavardhana. In the early 7th century, which of the following kingdoms were holding power in North India? What's the right answer? No, Yadavas. No, Yadavas of Devagiri, they were not associated with Mughals, they were associated with Delhi Sultanate. Paramas. Now, Yadavas of Devagiri, ఒక recent. ఒక option recent. Paramaras of Malwa, right? From the decline of Guptas until the rise of Harshavardhana in the early 7th century, which of the following kingdoms were holding power in North India? not Devagiris. Two Devagiris would have deleted them. Now come to North India Naplu, Pushabhutis of Staneshwar. Right, Pushabhutis of Staneshwar, Guptas of Magadha. When I say Guptas of Magadha, later Guptas antam, right? And Pushabhutis of Staneshwar, 1 followed by 3. Maitrakas of Vallabhi, 1, 3 and 6. Keeping aside options, the right answer is 1, 3 and 6. ఇక్కడ కొంచెం ఎర్రర్ పడింది, I mean typing error పడింది. It must be like, we have Kanauj, Maitrak, I'm sorry, yes, we have Grihavarman, that is like, మనం ఇందాక రెఫర్ చేసాం, Maukaris of Kanauj, right? So it's all about post-Guptan age.